Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to The Artist Way, and welcome to week 12. This is the last week and the last chapter of this book. Ironically, this is the shortest chapter in the book, but I feel like it was a perfect way to end it, so let's get straight into it. The title of this week's chapter is called Recovering a Sense of Faith. Again, this chapter is really short, so we're going to be going through all of the sections that were in this one, all of which have interesting titles, the first one being called Trusting. Creativity requires faith. Faith requires that we relinquish control. This is frightening and we resist it. This section asks us to trust ourselves, the process, and the universe, or whatever higher power you believe in. And you especially need this trust in order to pursue whatever dreams you have. Each of us has an inner dream that we can unfold if we will just have the courage to admit what it is. Whether or not you want to admit it, you know you have that dream that you deem too silly that you are meant to live out. Cameron argues that no matter the dream, no matter how big, how small, how rational, how insane, it is possible if you have the courage to do it and trust in yourself and your higher power to see it through and make it happen. In fact, Cameron takes it one step further and says that it's basically your due to see it all the way through. It is the inner commitment to be true to ourselves and follow our dreams that trigger the support of the universe. I have found myself trying to avoid my dreams under the excuse that it's not rational and that I could never possibly achieve. There's too many factors that I have to consider, none of which are really in my control. But that's the point Cameron is trying to make. Control is an illusion, and waiting till you feel ready or secure is just another way of stalling. What if instead of asking, is this realistic, we ask, is this mine and do I want it? If the dream belongs to you and you want it, it deserves to be followed. And as Cameron insists, the act of committing, of saying yes to it, is what sets everything else in motion. The second section is called Mystery, which I didn't really understand at first. Cameron basically says that your ideas need to grow. She comes back to this idea that she's mentioned before of not forcing your creativity. All too often, we think only in terms of light, and then the light bulb went on and I got it. I will say I definitely think in terms of the light bulb. I wait and wait for that aha moment instead of nurturing the half-baked ideas and giving them the seeds and water and sunlight they need to grow. I want the whole thing and I want it now. I want to be in control. But creativity is like one of the main things in life that you literally cannot control. In fact, Cameron puts it very bluntly. The creative process is a process of surrender, not control. Again, we come back to that idea of letting creativity guide you instead of you trying to drag it along where you want it to go. We just want to get the work done just to check the box off. But Cameron challenges that mindset. All too often, when we say we want to be creative, we mean that we want to be able to be productive. Productivity gives me one of the best feelings in the world. I love it. I thrive on it. But the hardest part about creativity is that it doesn't always fit into the productivity mold. It doesn't always give you instant results or measurable outcomes. It's messy and uncertain and slow, but maybe that's the whole point of it. Maybe creativity isn't supposed to feel productive. Maybe it's supposed to feel alive and unpredictable and a little bit mysterious because that's how it grows. The next section is called Imagination at Play, and it is basically Cameron telling us to get a hobby. And she's not wrong. We are an ambitious society, and it is often difficult for us to cultivate forms of creativity that do not directly serve us in our career goals. This one stings a lot, but it's true. We've reached this point, myself included, where it feels pointless to do something that doesn't push us towards our future selves. Like, what's the use in learning crochet if I want to be a filmmaker? So instead, I cling to my job hobby and wonder why I'm constantly getting burned out. As we serve our hobby, we are freed from our ego's demands and allow the experience of merging with a greater source. In other words, hobbies take the pressure off. They remind us that not everything we do has to be important. Yet, she also says this: we want to do something, but we think it needs to be the right something, by which we mean something important. And I feel that hard. I always pressure myself to do the right thing, the thing that will make me look productive or advance my career. So I end up skipping the hobbies, skipping the passion projects because they don't feel like they matter. But here's the twist. They matter because they don't matter. Hobbies is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself, precisely because they free you from the constant grind of chasing success. They give you the space to play, and that play often feeds your art in ways you don't even realize. Last section is called Escape Velocity. And I'll be honest, I had no idea idea what this meant before. It's a little iffy on it, but I get the gist. Cameron describes this concept that was introduced to her by a friend called the escape velocity. Essentially, it is when you are on the cusp of something great, you're about to escape. Think of it like the velocity you get before the drop on a roller coaster. You're going up and up and up, and then you just skyrocket forward. That's escape velocity. But then Cameron introduces another element to this, something that wants to stop your escape velocity. Something, more usually someone, again, that tries to stop you or interrupt you. Let's go back to the roller coaster. You're going up and up and up, all about to drop, and boom, the coaster just breaks down. Now think of that breakdown as another person, though Cameron calls that person a wet blanket. I've had my fair shares of breakdowns or wet blankets or whatever you want to call them, and that sucks because you feel like you have a good friend who just constantly meets your positivity with negativity. Getting to escape velocity with people like this feels impossible, but Cameron offers this kind of advice. In order to achieve escape velocity, we must learn to keep our own counsel, to move silently among doubters, to voice our plan only among allies, and to name our allies accurately. You and I have to learn how to think completely for ourselves and know who to tell what to. Actually, it's more like who you can tell what to. Sometimes discretion is the best thing to protect yourself, your art, and your coaster. Now it's time for our final morning pages check-in. I honestly think that this has been the best part or my favorite part of this entire journey through this book. I've always wanted to journal before, but I never really gave myself the time or place to do so. I would wonder what the point is or just write it off because I knew my thoughts would move much faster than my hands could, so what's the point in trying to write all that down anyway? So I never tried, but then I got forced to do it with this book and I am never going back. This honestly changed my life. Yes, my thoughts still move faster than my hands do, but doing these pages has also forced me and allowed me to slow down my thoughts, to really dissect everything. Honestly, doing these pages is probably my favorite part of my routine. It's just so relaxing, even when you're doing in pure burning rage. It calms me down. Getting it all down on the page and leaving it there. That way I can start my day anew, fresh, and reset every single day. My artist day for this week was that I did another photo shoot for my friends, but this time I was behind the camera. The reason that this was my artist day for this week, because this is really out of my comfort zone again. I am a sports photographer by trade, so studio and portrait photography has always scared me a little bit. In sports, they're always moving. There's no posing, and you know when you get the perfect shot, basically. And in a way, and don't shoot me for this, there's sort of a formula. With portrait and studio photography, it can be anything. All bets are off, and that scares me. What if it turned out that I wasn't as good as a photographer as I thought I was? But this was such a fun experience, and now I'm kind of addicted to studio photography. I think it was also the perfect introduction because my friend already knew what kind of vibe she wanted, the poses that she wanted everybody else to do, so I didn't really have to worry about that. But I was also able to take mental notes for if I do my own shoot one day. Not to toot my own horn, but I think the pictures turned out great. Overall, I did enjoy having artist dates throughout this entire process, though I do wish I put more time, effort, and thought into them. I feel like I didn't get what I truly wanted to get out of this, but I still enjoyed them, and I do want to integrate them more into my own life and try new things or take the day off to do something creative. In conclusion, this was a great chapter to tie everything together. The perfect goodbye chapter, if you will. It feels like Julia Cameron is taking the training wheels off. That's why so much of this chapter is about fully trusting yourself. We're on our own now. Overall, this entire book has just been insightful, especially in putting names to feelings I couldn't quite articulate on my own and calling out behaviors I didn't even realize was holding me back. I know at some point I'll revisit this book and I'll probably end up going through it to pick out all of my favorite parts to keep with me as I continue my creative journey. I think every creative should read this book at least once, and I'm being so serious. It is just so incredibly impactful in ways that you don't even realize it could be. This has genuinely helped me so much on my creative recovery, and I don't know where I would be without it. Is it crazy to say that a book has changed my life? Because this book has changed my life. I am a little sad that it's over. It was a constant in my life for months now, and now it's up to me to continue all the work by myself. That's a lot of power. But as Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think Julia Cameron has perfectly prepared me for that responsibility. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to like, subscribe, tell me what your favorite part of this book is. And if you're gonna miss this series, I would love to know. Anyways, I love you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Smooches. Bye.